Kia ora, bro. Kia ora, bro. Kia ora, bro. Kia ora, bro. Kia ora, bro.
Thanks, Dino. You all right? Hang on, let me give you a pat on the back. That might be better. Okay, welcome back to the Quarter Hour. It's Kiwi Week. And this week we're talking to all the wonderful personalities on New Zealand radio. Today, the Hits Breakfast with Jono, Ben and Megan. Hey guys.
How are you?
Hello.
Geez, we are fresh off a show.
I know, you guys have just done 4 hours. I've just woken up, to be honest.
Yeah, it's lovely. We've just nailed another mediocre radio program. Got to the end of it, Wade.
It's always a blur, though, when you get to the end of these, isn't it? You know, I find that sometimes they go, what did you do on the show? And you're like, oh,
No idea
Yeah.
what we talked about.
Yeah.
Well, I'll do what every programmer does when they walk in right off the show. Great show, guys. Good show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you employ the compliment sandwich system where you start with a
Yes.
positive? Yeah, you do. Yeah.
No.
We know it's
The
happening.
honey and the hatchet, our boss is now calling. You get the honey and then you get the hatchet. Done, yeah. Just end with the honey. That's all right, you know, that'd be
Yeah.
nice. But anyway, we have to do the hatchet.
Is that what you call it over here? We call it the shit sandwich.
Yeah, well, that's another way of doing it. I think Matt's just now decided that honey or the hatchet was a nice new thing to basically say the same thing as he's been saying for a while.
Do you know what we try and do as radio hosts too? When we know the shit sandwich or the honey and the hatchet is coming, after the honey or the first layer of bread, we try and distract the conversation and take it off into another direction. Sometimes works and sometimes doesn't.
Yeah, nice attempt to reframe the shit sandwich.
Yeah.
We see you. We see you.
Yeah.
Hey, Megan, we've met before. I haven't met the boys before, but we've met before when you were on ZM Breakfast.
We have, yeah. I don't know how long ago that was. Quite a while, though.
Quite a while ago. Well, you've been with Jono and Ben since 2024, but I want to just ask you the first question because I don't think I asked you this last time. Where did you get your start in radio?
I did the New Zealand Broadcasting School in Christchurch, and then I moved straight to Auckland. I was kind of given the option to do the smaller town or be a little fish in a very big pond. So I just went for
Big pond for New Zealand, I guess.
yeah, the biggest pond we have.
Yeah. This is still kind of a tiny pond for Australia, but anyway.
And it was kind of not what everyone else was doing because a lot of people say go to a smaller market and you get the opportunity to try lots of different things. But I just wanted to go straight to Auckland because it's where I wanted to end up. And I started as a technical producer working in like a creative department and making imaging for 3 or 4 stations. That's initially where I started.
Right, and that's Maury Shanahan's school, isn't it? The Christchurch.
It is.
School?
I remember Maury, yeah.
I want to ask you about what made you go to radio school. Was there a radio listener in your house when you were growing up? Where did radio excite you?
I was a punisher. I was one of these heavy radio listener punishers because I used to call. We had like a hot 9 at 9, and I used to call and vote for. It was like Hanson back in the day. But my friend and I used to listen. She'd be at her house, I'd be at my house, and we would listen incessantly every night to the hot 9 at 9, and to the point where the radio announcer ended up just being like, "Stop calling me. Can you stop?" One time I was like, this is the first time I'm calling you, Blair.
Do you know we tried to actually track down Blair. He still doesn't want to talk to Megan. We tried to do it for a bit.
Stop calling me.
So I was that girl. But I didn't think of radio as a career. I really liked it, but I actually initially went to broadcasting school to be a journalist. And I did a walk around. I'd done the enrollment, and it wasn't until I was there that I was like, oh, radio looks so fun. I never thought about it. And so I changed which stream I entered and went into radio.
Oh, we're all very grateful because you've had a great career, first with ZM, obviously, and now with Jono and Ben. Now, boys, you met separately away from radio, is that right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess when we first started working together at radio, different shows, when Jono was at The Rock and I sort of came as well. So I guess, and then became a TV show eventually that we ended up doing, and then became a radio show after that. So, yeah, I guess it was just naturally the two of us were doing 2 different TV shows at the time, 2 probably lesser rating shows, and they thought, well, maybe we'll put the 2 of you together and maybe it'll make a slightly more
Double
higher
the ratings.
Yeah, exactly. That was their theory. So, yeah, and they're very similar sort of styles of shows in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, that was how the sort of Jono and Ben thing, they sort of pitched it to us. We sort of went away and thought about it for a little bit and then came back and went, yeah, it sounded like a fun thing to do.
So working together first on TV, what was that like?
It was It was really fun. Like, to be honest, Ben's probably got far more experience on the television production side of things than I did, because he started his own show from scratch previously. So I learned a lot off Ben and the way he approaches the craft, and how much hard work he puts into creating content and television. And I think for both of us, it was a huge learning curve, that whole 7-year period, because you were kind of started out as a half-hour show at 10 o'clock at night, and then it sort of expanded to an hour-long show at 7:30, and you kind of had to fill an hour, and to do so, you were doing so many sort of different varieties of entertainment, sort of out-and-about stuff, scripted stuff, studio stuff, and so you learnt how to kind of do a little bit of everything, a bit of writing, a bit of acting, a bit of live pranking. Did it all, mate.
yeah, a lot of trial and error stuff. We were probably lucky that the network, sort of let us, make some mistakes and do some things that were good, some things that were bad, and sort of develop some stuff out, without that pressure of like 2 weeks you're out. So that was cool. And I guess a lot of kids these days would be doing their stuff, for social media or YouTube channels and stuff there. For us, that was our outlet, to put it on TV and late night TV. So yeah, it was really fun. It was a blur. Again, like coming to the end of the radio show, you're like, whoo. What do we do? Sometimes people come up to us and go, I love that bit you did that. You're like, did we do that? What did we do?
Someone phoned up the radio show.
You set yourself on fire.
Yeah.
Well, those are the raw we think, as we think.
I remember seeing that, but Jono was like, when?
And then we had that child phone up the other day, and the child was like, oh, it's the one marrying the 2 goats on your show. And you're like, we have no recollection.
No, honestly.
What kind of show will we run?
Yeah.
Who knows?
You covered some ground.
He did, yeah. Didn't we know?
Just with that, though, I guess I'm curious about that coming together. Because when you say a late night TV show, and you guys don't look that old to me, and people would do that now on YouTube or in a podcast even. But what era are we talking? When did the TV show start?
So it finished probably 8 or 9 years ago, and then it was 7 years previous to that, 2010.
Yeah, around about that, yeah.
So yeah, it would have been around that 2010 period, and that's not to say that online stuff wasn't starting to take off, like YouTube and things like that was kicking off around then too. But
and a lot of our stuff probably went better on online than it did on telly some weeks as well. But yeah, it was.
I remember a famous conversation. Well, it wasn't famous. No one knows about it, but a conversation we had with our boss at the time. We're like, this video we've done's had 1 million views.
I think it was 22 million on a video. It was the best that we ever had or something. It was
22 million. He's like, we don't care about the internet.
It was like, I think it was our worst rating TV show that week as well. So it was like, yeah.
What?
We don't care about the internet.
Remember what video it was that got 22 mil?
Oh, it was, there was like a BBC reporter at the time, and he got interrupted by his kids. It was like a live thing, and he got interrupted. His kids came in, and then I think the nanny came in, and then I think we reversed it. We had a female doing in the same position and just nailing it, and doing all these other things, distractions that didn't cause distractions as well. She was like detonating a bomb and cooking a thing and ironing a shirt and doing all these other things to show that women can multitask a lot better. I think it was the kind of the gag, the funny gag that we made, and that sort of blew up that week. But yeah, the TV show just died in the ratings, I think, that week. Which is the way it kind of went sometimes on late night TV.
Then eventually slowly died a slow death.
Yeah, not to say every week was like that, but that week in particular was not a good one.
Well, I'm glad you had a chance to try things, because I think that sometimes stops people now. If you're a creator or you're into podcasting or radio, or you've got a YouTube channel, sometimes I think the hesitation is where you lose. If you go, oh, I don't think this will work, or you're chasing the views, is this going to do as well as that video, etc. To me, that's creatively the wrong way round. You want to try things so you know what your style is and what what works. So it's interesting you had that dynamic.
Yeah, I was listening to another I'm sorry, wait, I listened to another podcast. I'm sorry.
It happens. It's okay.
Have you read Rick Rubin, who's the record producer?
Oh, I love Rick Rubin.
Yeah,
he's great.
He's got a really good approach on content and, obviously making creative works, where he's like, well, whether it gets 3 views or 300 million views, as long as you're happy with the piece of work you put out, that's all that really matters and all you can really control in the creative process.
Yeah, you're making it for yourself, right? That's where you should start.
And I think, there was sometimes probably at the start of that TV when we probably did our best stuff when weren't, I mean, it sounds dumb to say it, but we weren't overthinking it or overanalyzing stuff. You were just kind of going, this is funny. I think this is funny. And someone else go, yeah, that's funny. And you were doing it, not having too many people come in and go, oh, what about, and sometimes they're great to have those conversations. And other times you kind of can talk yourself out of things that you maybe would have tried. And you went, hey, actually that worked, or it didn't work. But at least you got to make those decisions and do it, which was kind of refreshing at the start. Particularly we started that TV show with probably a handful of people, and then by the end of it, we had more like a proper TV show. We'd have producers and directors, and people helping us write and comedians and stuff. So it kind of grew, and it was great. It needed to grow, but yeah, it was probably at the start. Yeah, you were kind of like you didn't have time to second guess anything. You just did it.
Ben's got a famous line. He always says, "Comedy by committee never works."
No, that's true. That's true.
You can talk yourself out of anything. Sometimes for the best. There's definitely times I look back and go, "Geez, I wish someone had come in and gone." Don't do that. Don't do that. And I would have. I needed that committee sometimes. Yeah.
So Megan, the boys are established as a duo, both in TV and then in radio.
Yeah.
Tell me about the conversation where you joined the boys, where the idea first came up. Was there any hesitation in joining an existing duo?
No, not hesitation, because I've kind of done that before at ZM. There was an established duo that you join, and it's not easy. Most radio shows are just kind of put together and you have to make the relationship work. But it does bring another level of difficulty coming in after the fact when these guys have had so much success and time together. But I was doing random segments with them, and it was so much fun. And when they came to me, my first concern was, what did they think about it? Because you're never going to join anyone if they really don't want to.
Sure.
So that was my main concern, but I hate saying this in front of them because I don't like
Is this the Christmas?
giving them a compliment.
Praising them.
Yeah, I know. We'll take your headphones off right now. You can say.
You know we can still hear with our ears.
Only through the headphones is the only way I hear.
But they do give you a lot of space, and that's honestly quite rare. Especially when you're coming in to an established show, like you're not entirely sure where you jump in and what you're going to add, and they just they gave me a lot of space. They gave me a lot of room, and they were just great, accepting from the start.
And I can hear the breadth in the show. Like I can hear your perspective and your world coming in with their world. And to me, it almost sounds like you're always together. I think that's testament to your skills, I think, Megan, that you are coming into an environment that has already got the show's DNA is there. The performers have a good relationship with each other. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. And it's usually not the fault, I don't think, of any of the performers. It's just, did it click? And I think what you've been able to do, because you're adding, in my mind, and this is the ex-programmer in me, you're adding structure, you're adding a bit of warmth, you're adding stuff that it wasn't that like the boys didn't have that, but to have it from a different perspective, I think as a listener invites me into their world a bit more. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
No, Megan's been bloody brilliant. I feel like the show has really sort of hit a comfortable space in the last 3 to 6 months, where everything's kind of just relaxed. You get into that flow state when you're working and broadcasting. It's it feels like we're doing more of those shows than not at the moment. So we're really enjoying it. And there's been many interviews or phonotopics and things where Megan sort of jumps in with her perspective, as you said, and you're like, oh dear, we definitely wouldn't have covered that.
And probably you're like, it's probably like any relationship, you get to a stage where you've kind of like, I know what he's going to say here because I know the story, I know this thing, I know the angle. But with Megan coming in and being so good at what she does, but also offering that fresh perspective and lens, kind of takes it to a place you're like, oh, wow, that's why, or this is the reason. And you find more comedy and interest and all those things in having that extra voice and that thing to go, and the things that we can kind of debate and give each other grief about, we wouldn't do, and if you weren't here. So that's kind of a cool space for us to have. It's
a trust thing too. Like you have to earn the trust in the relationship because you're live, and you have to trust that the other person's not going to say something that you don't want out there, or you have to trust your co-host that they're going to follow your lead or back you up or whatever you need, and that only comes from time.
I have broken that trust on a couple of occasions.
Here's my next question.
Yeah, no, definitely is. So when did I hear that thing is like from me and you weren't meant to say it?
Well, thanks for joining me, team. I think that one of the things you just mentioned there about hitting your stride is right. I've got a 1,000 show theory. I think, and it sounds like a lot, but really it isn't. It's when you're doing breakfast all the time together and you're getting up in the middle of the night. There's a forced chemistry that has to occur early. But what happens with good shows is they actually find a natural and their own chemistry over time. And 1,000 shows is, you're getting up to around about there being together sort of 2.5 years.
Oh my God.
This is when the rubber hits the road. Yeah. And when you think of it like that, and the reason I have the 1,000 shows theory is people want to listen for 3 months and go, oh, they've got it or they haven't. And you look at the math and they've done like 40 shows together. But it's like, that's not going to work in terms of radio. It is a longer form chemistry game, I think. And so I hear it in the way that you now give each other space. And I hear it also in the way that you support each other. And it's not like you weren't doing that before, but it's more natural to do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No,
I can hear you eating your straps too.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you for
So let me give you
enduring
the bad
the podcast.
feedback.
There's the honey, where's the heifer? Here comes the hatchet. Here we go.
Yeah. The hatchet is, you're all terrible in the fight.
Thank you. What a way to find out.
Can I ask you? Well, it's not a personal question, just a
Famous question.
famous question. Over in Australia, it seems from the outside looking in that shows maybe wouldn't be given that length of time in some markets to get to the 1,000 shows.
Yeah, absolutely. Particularly in FM and music, I think it doesn't happen. And I think that what programmers want to do, because I think ultimately, and this is me as a recovering former program director, is they want to fiddle. They want to get in there and muck around and play. And so if they don't hear something's right, that the hardest thing for a programmer to do is to leave it.
Yeah, right.
Because and that's not necessarily their fault, because the pressure to perform and get results is immediate in our business, right? But I think the great programmers have patience, not just with playing the longer game, but if they really feel like there's chemistry and a spark in a show, the obligation of the programmer is to let that play out. Now, that doesn't mean everything's going to be a success. There's no magic formula. Otherwise, everyone would just do the formula, right? But I think that, in talk formats, it's probably allowed a little bit longer. I know you've got a thing with Mike Hosking at the moment. I mean, how many shows has he done? Probably up to the 10,000 mark, right?
Yeah.
And he's, it's easy to think if his show is solo, but he's talking to someone all the time, guests and contributors to something. But I think in any show, particularly in a team show, you really only hit your straps after a long period of time, and then you can accelerate from there. And I think that's where you guys are at now. It does feel like patience is required, and patience you've been given, and now it's time to really hit your straps.
Yeah, because I mean, there is some of these great shows in New Zealand, and that's there's ZM do a great show, and More FM do a great show, and all those, Rock do a great show. So, like you feel like, there's those jumps in ratings that don't seem to happen unless you were like Kyle and Jackie. How many years ago was that, So it's just like come to work every day and try and do the best show you can, and hoping that one day it'll slowly get there, for the audience. But we're happy with how things have, have been progressing as a show. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, team. Thanks for having me in.
I might say it's worth going up 0.1 at the survey every
Go a
time.
little bit faster.
One at a time, baby.
Nice to go.
The trend is your friend, even if it's slow.
Yeah, that's what we tell ourselves, right? Anyway, yeah.
Love it. Thanks, team. Thanks for having you.
Yeah.